Soen is a prog metal band from Sweden, and they have released their new album Memorial. I was gonna not talk about this one, just because there's a lot of other albums I would want to cover coming up soon, but I decided, screw it. I've listened to this one twice, and I think it deserves to be talked about on this channel. So, Soen is a band I haven't really dabbled in as much as some of the other bands I've talked about here. This is the first album all the way through I've listened to, and I can definitely say from a first time perspective, you get the gist of their sound, you get kind of the whole package here, to be honest. You get a whole well detailed explanation just sonically from the guitars, the vocals, the drums, the bass, everything. It just does its job well, and you kind of get the components, you understand them to a T. This album isn't anything complex, but I don't think it needs to be. It pushes out just, classic melodic prog metal after another classic melodic prog metal track. Every song plays with a punchy, powerful chorus that just absolutely hits goosebumps, and especially since some of the songs like Violence accompany with just some very nice heavy guitar riffs on this one. It's interesting. It's kind of a dynamic there. I'm surprised Katatonia didn't really do much. You do have your guitars in Katatonia, especially in Sky Void of Stars, but the only song that really felt like they had the guitar potential that tracks like Violence easily do was No Beacon Will Illuminate Our Fall, and that was only a small breakdown that lasted about 12 seconds. But yeah, I think when it comes to the instrumental, I think the balance of having just some nice guitars like that to a very good range of vocals is what makes the melodic elements stick out more. Soen definitely fought very well with the chorus structure, because tracks like Sincere, Unbreakable, Violence, Fortress, Memorial, and so on are fantastic. I think every track on this album as well just hits just that sound right, and it has a very clear direction and guide that they really want to follow. Yeah, this might not be their most original album, maybe they've done stuff like this before with some of the singles I've listened to, but I don't think they need to really break the mold every time, and I think with this album, it may be their best, it may not be their best, it might be the most hated album they've done. I don't know, because I've not actually listened to anything else, but from what I've listened to from singles, from other albums, this definitely fits in their sound, and I just think it works nicely, and I think even as my first album and experience into Soen, I definitely recommend this one. It's definitely a fun album, and they get a lot of the formula right. I honestly think the inclusion of the female vocalist, I do not know who the name of this is. I tried looking it up, but I kind of forgot who it is. On the track Hollowed, Elisa is a nice little addition to this as well. It kind of gives a little bit of versatility to the tracks, because they do follow a similar formula that I feel like if they were to just have every track sound like Sincere and Unbreakable, you're probably gonna think, okay, this is a very safe album, but when they play it safe, they also up the ante and give you a bit more of a punchy experience. I think in terms of instrumentals, every track works great, the production and mixing is brilliant every single time, and especially towards the second half, if you are getting a bit bored of the formula, they do mix it up. Tragedian, or Tragedian, I do not pronounce that. This track is a very easy standout one. It's a slower one, but it starts to kind of build up the energy that the rest of the tracks previously follow. So you're getting a little bit of a breather here, but then you're kind of going back into that classic sound, and even the slower points just feel like Soen completely. Icon kind of brings it all back around to that normal sound you hear, but Vitals is sort of the distinctive one. While this is probably my least favourite, I think as a closer it does its job well. It just drives the song towards the end. It feels like this whole car ride, this is the song where you finally reach your destination and you're slowly parking up. and that was a good journey you enjoyed. And that's generally how I feel with Vitals. It's kind of sad that it ends, to be honest, because it's a really fun album, but at the same time you're quite happy about the journey, and Vitals is just the weakest part because it's kind of the end, and also because I think sonically it doesn't really has as much to offer, but it makes for a pretty strong finale as well, or at least a decently strong one, in the sense that all the others continue that flow, and Vitals is the payoff. It's not the best payoff, but I think it's a good one. I think every track has a very good amount of purpose and being to it, and it definitely brings more light onto this record. I think this record is a 4 out of 5. It's definitely a fun album from the band, and yeah, it's great. I think this is a fun sewing album. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and see you guys in the next video.